The second type of antagonist is called physiological or functional antagonist. In this type of antagonism, there are two different ligands acting on two different receptors, causing two opposite effects. So in this type of antagonism, our antagonist doesn't act on the same receptor to which our agonist acts. It acts on another receptor, causing another effect. Okay? And a classical example of this type of antagonism, which is called a functional or physiological antagonism, is the antagonism between histamine and adrenaline. Okay? Histamine is an inflammatory mediator that is released during or after allergy. If there is allergy, there is histamine. Okay? This histamine, which is, by the way, a molecule that results from the decarboxylation of amino acid called histidine. And the decarboxylation of any amino acid give the corresponding amine. So the decarboxylation of histidine amino acid give us histamine. Histamine acts on receptor called H1 receptor, causing bronchoconstriction and vasodilatation. Bronchoconstriction and vasodilatation. So if you have a bronchoconstriction, you have difficulty in breath. And if you have vasodilatation, your blood pressure is lower than the normal. And this could result in tissue hypoperfusion. And this is an emergency case. We call it anaphylactic shock. And the treatment of this anaphylactic shock, the life-saving drug, is the adrenaline or epinephrine. Adrenaline antagonizes this action of histamine, which is the bronchoconstriction and vasodilatation. But adrenaline doesn't block the receptor which histamine acts on. It doesn't block H1 receptor. But adrenaline acts on other receptors. And by acting on these receptors, it causes action that is opposite to the actions of histamine. Adrenaline works on beta-2 receptor, causing bronchodilation, and it acts on alpha-1 receptors on blood vessels causing vasoconstriction. So it acted on receptors other than the receptor of histamine, which is H1, and it caused opposite effects to histamine. So it antagonized the effects of histamine without acting or blocking the receptors of histamine. Okay, this type of antagonism is physiological antagonism. Alright? The last type of antagonism is called chemical antagonism. And in this type of antagonism, the effect of the agonist or the drug is terminated if the antagonist bound to it in a chemical way. There is now a bond that is made between the agonist and the antagonist. There is no interaction on receptors. A classical example of this type of antagonism is the drug heparin. Heparin is an anticoagulant drug, a drug that prevents the formation of blood clots. This drug, if there is a toxicity from it, we would have bleeding. Okay? So if we have a bleeding, we can give a drug that is called protamine. Protamine. Heparin is an acidic drug that carries a negative charge, while protamine, amine, this is basic drug which carries a positive charge. So a positive and negative, they can bind together. So by that way, protamine terminates the action of heparin.